Much. Hey, everybody. My name is Gil Sotu. It is my honor to host this segment of Sounds of Change. Because us poets, we feed off of energy. I'm going to ask in the most humble way possible. If you can, you don't have to unmute yourself, but if you could turn on your camera so we could see your bright and shiny faces, just so that we can feel your energy digitally. It's already hard enough via Zoom. But the more that you can share your picture, even if you're looking down, it just makes us feel like we're connected. If you can't, we understand. You know, sometimes it's not makeup day. Sometimes you got stuff going on in the background you don't want nobody to see. Your business is your business, but it'll help us a lot if you can share your screen with us. Not share your screen. I'm sorry. Turn on your camera. All right. Don't share your screen. That's a whole other technical thing. My name is Gil Sotu. I am a poet and playwright and DJ. I produce shows. I do a little bit of everything. And when it comes to art, I'm a teaching artist at the Old Globe and Intrepid Theater and a couple of other places. And it's just, again, my honor to be here with you all. When Mika asked us to do this, I thought that this is just a great cause to really educate people about voting, and we just heard from the last speaker, and you know, I feel like she spoke so eloquently and from the heart, and this is just the more with more facts, and this is the more creative side of it. And we're gonna hit you at both angles to get you to be passionate and to spread the word. Because I'm already knowing that most of you have registered to vote, but the important thing now is to spread the word to other people, because we definitely don't have everybody registered to vote. So we spoke to your head, and hopefully us as poets, after Rosie was done, we could speak to your heart. So I'm gonna introduce the first poet. Sharon Elise works as a professor of sociology at the California State University, San Marcos, where she conducts research and teaches on critical race and gender issues. She also serves as Associate Vice President, South of Racial and Social Justice for the California Faculty Association, the union representing over 29,000 faculty in the California State University system. She brings her sociological insight to poetry and poetics to sociology, and her recent poetry publications are in the San Diego Poetry Annual and Border Voices. This is what I want you to do. Before I say this young lady's name one more time, I need everybody to have their chat open. And when a poet says a dope line, or if you just enjoy their energy or whatever, I just need you to put your emojis and clap or snap, whatever you have to do to let us feel you. That's what I'm gonna ask. Or you can write, you know, that was beautiful, whatever it is, but we're gonna give love to the poets, and the poets are gonna give love to us, and it's just you're gonna feel the energy digitally. All right, so without any further ado, let me introduce to you Sharon Elise.
Thank you. That was very la-la, by the way.
Hey, that's all right. I love la-la.
It's okay. So I'm going to do two short things here because they're kind of connected. And I like to just go right into it. The border is everywhere and in your mind. It doesn't exist for reals. It doesn't. But how does an imaginary line kill? She crossed the border. She crossed from TJ to Chula Vista. She walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked. Chris crossed the border of race and color and nation and class. She crossed the border, swam the Rio, survived the desert, managed montañas. She crossed the border from Barrio Logan to Del Mar, or the asphalt border from Sage Scrub to cul-de-sac worksite, or the freeway from the San Joaquin moving west from Fresno to Watsonville, or east from grape and lettuce and strawberry fields to the slaughterhouses of Chicago. She crossed the border. She didn't cross the border. It doesn't exist for reals. But this imaginary line kills, and it lives in the mind, preserved in ice. She was born here. Her people were born here when here was there, but now here is there. So she was born there. She crosses the border from there to here. Where there is work, there is food for the children. Where there is work, there is life. She crosses the border. The border has grown like a virus preserved in ice. It spawns new fences, and minute by minute, men carry it in parts. It springs up 3 places, one night in Oceanside. It lives in Escondido, fertilized by the city council, occupies and preoccupies Vista. The border grows like a virus, sprouts up in playgrounds, between desks in classrooms, and between people in the aisle in the grocery store. She crosses the border their eyes carry, plants a short hoe in each heart, digs for the love seated by Gandhi, blowing west to Martin Luther King, carrying cottonseed courage to face down southern fire hoses, turn into a tumbleweed movement of steady feet. Listen, you could hear the guitar strum, the beat of the drum, the call. Second piece. This year, the virus crept across borders unhindered by any National Guard, Coast Guard, Border Patrol, or ICE. Carried in whispers or shouted, wrapped in a laugh or song, cried or coughed into us, it came. Crept into the old and sheltered, seeped through the air among young partygoers, swept the room in the gruff calls and stories of men in pubs, carried in hugs. It came, attacking our humanity, our sociality, our need to share body and story, song and argument. Connection became a vehicle of infection, and we became afraid of each other. Or worse, we denied the force, refused the mask, and turned against our most common sense of survival. Too many of us became viral. When we chanced to see a movie of the old days when we kissed, hugged, and touched people outside our pod, it seems odd, simple things like sharing a drink from the same cup, leaning in to whisper to a friend, raising our voices in anger, despair, or surprise without thinking of the virus aerosolized. And how we long and ponder when we can be normal, touching, shouting, loving, and fighting close together again.
Mm. Woo, way to kick it off. Way to kick it off. Sorry for being la la, but you deserve la la. I know you don't like it, but hey.
No, I like to be one with everybody.
You are definitely. Your poetry definitely speaks to that. All right, so I'm going to bring up our next guest. Not only does he have a record collection that's going to make you jealous, this young man is the associate publisher of the San Diego Poetry Annual and an associate professor of sociology at San Bernardino Valley College. He received his PhD in cultural studies from Claremont Graduate University, exploring histories, representation, and the use of poetry in hip hop and Black popular culture. He continues to write and perform with the performance art collective BK Soul, but that's the official, bio. Let me say what I really feel about this man. This dude, I have known him for over 10 years now, I think, and we just grew in poetry together. We both were doing poetry before we met each other, but we've just always had this love and respect for one another in our work. I'm just so proud that he just scholastically just killed it and became a PhD and official doctor. And we knew each other before children. Now we're all fathers and old and beautiful. And it's just been an amazing experience to get to know this brother. And according to his biopic, he'll put on a bow tie for you, but ain't gonna tie it. Please give it up for Ant Black.
Woo, Ant. I love you all. I love you, Gil.
All right, Ant, kick it.
Yeah, so let's just do the poem, right? I first read this speech on a banner hanging over the love seat at my auntie's house. Martin Luther King's side profile overlooking the Washington Monument. Underneath him, the entire transcript to the I Have a Dream speech in 1963. True story. This is how I learned how to read. But even as a 7-year-old, I never understood how a person with the title of Reverend and the title of Doctor would become most famous for going on and on about something anyone can do, dream. I believe the way they take your power is by reducing you to a symbol of a person that anyone can be. Martin Luther King was a theologian, a preacher, a teacher, a scholar, a philosopher, a father, Coretta's ideal partner, an orator, an organizer, a writer, head pastor of a church 2 times, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., read more, studied more, served more, and listened to more stories of what it means to be American and poor by the age of 39 than most of us will ever do any one of those throughout our entire life. So how are you going to tell me what Martin Luther King Jr. thinks, and you've never listened to an entire speech? How are you going to tell me one of those, if Martin Luther King were alive today, he would say phrase, and you won't acknowledge that inequality people of color still face? I'm not here to mess up nobody's celebration, but we can't talk about a dream without talking about the Alabama state trooper that shot Deacon Jimmy Lee, without talking about the state-sanctioned policies that have Black folk in the back of the bus seats, without talking about the basement of a 16th Street Baptist church, without talking about the bloodstains Myrlie Evers cleaned off her driveway, without talking about the good folk who ain't racist, but don't understand why all of those people don't stay in their places. Martin Luther King gets reduced to empty phrases in blackface portraying how America was made great. But before we do that, let's check the data. The more things have changed, the more they have stayed the same. Last time that I checked, in southern states, schools are just as segregated as they were the year after Martin Luther King died. Last time that I checked, in Florida, Black voters are 5 times more likely to be disenfranchised than whites. Last time that I checked, in California, the response to rising rent and the lack of affordable housing is to retrace the patterns of white flight. Last time that I checked, even with the Black president of the United States of America, the gap in income inequality between Blacks and whites grew more wide. This is why my mouthful of praise sometimes sounds like confrontation and righteous anger. Why when I lift my hands to God, sometimes my fists are closed. Why I kneel in prayer and in protest. Don't forget, Martin Luther King's last Sunday sermon was titled Remaining Awake During a Great Revolution. And 50 years later, we still out here talking about stay woke. As the story goes, Martin Luther King was more than halfway into his March on Washington speech when 50 feet into the crowd, he heard the sound of Mahalia Jackson saying, "Tell him about the dream." And without breaking his gaze upon the crowd, he gathered his notes, slid them to the left of the podium, out of sight, and began to tell the people, "I have a dream. I believe. The way you exercise power is by speaking God's love into action, even if you hadn't planned to say or do that thing." I remember reading Martin Luther King's speech as a 27-year-old graduate student in Sharon Elise's class, slouched on my living room couch. True story. This is when I decided I might get a PhD. When I understood how easy it is to forget or to fight for social justice, but the hard part is having the courage, the knowledge, and the optimism to create possibilities out of a shared dream. Thank you. Do I get to introduce Gil now? Gil can't introduce himself because he already introduced himself.
Yes.
Wow,
Let me tell
that was
you,
dope, man.
There's so much I could say about Gil Sotu and his love for poetry, using poetry to edutain, enlighten, create, inspire. But the biggest compliment I can give a poet is when they can take the most simplest of words or phrases or images, and that will stay with you for a long time. And the first poem that I heard Gil say, his last line and last 2 words of a poem was, "It's Sunday." It's Sunday. And whenever I'm stressed or want to get away, it's Gil's voice that I hold on to saying, "Because Sundays," right? Not it's Sunday, because Sundays, because Sundays. So Gil is forever a comrade in poetry, a comrade in thought and ideas and inspiration, and all the work he's doing and the accolades and pushing not just poetry forward in our community, but nationally, as you hear my kids in the background, is well deserved. So he told you about the Old Globe. He told you about his work. He didn't talk about being on TED Talks. He didn't talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, anytime you hear this, brother, it's a treat. Gil Sotu.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. All right. So I'm just going to get into it. In love, I lace my Converse buckle my pants, don a shirt that allows for mobility, and give myself one last look in this mirror. I really need to clean this thing, but right now that doesn't matter. What I really need is just one more final moment to bathe in this reflection and convince myself that I am what I say I am. No excuses, no takebacks or apologies. Say my name. In love, I hop out the car, the whip, the ride, the hoopty, on my bike, on the bus. This is just a beautiful day to just walk. And I turn up my music that makes me feel powerful, beautiful, proud, intelligent, gangster, connected, hella black. I'm saying hella black, and I love it. I require my music louder than you might like because I need my head right before I gotta clock in, attend this meeting, smile in your condescending face, deal with your microaggressions, address this officer, show my ID, show my receipt, code switch, apply for this loan, apply for this job, meet your family, and or stop you from touching my hair. Say my name. In love, I invite you to my family's barbecue. I'll play in your league, make you feel welcome in my church, in my restaurant, on my block, at my spades table, around my children, at my concerts, in my damn house, on my skin, between my lips and out my mouth. You lay your pillows upon my hospitality, knowing that you have 400 years of conditioning and an entire police force to cover any nighttime chills you might face. Say my name. In love, I can't stand to look at you. I can't stand the way that you look at me sometimes. Like you're trying to figure out where at this hour you're going to find another hoop for me to jump through or entertain you with or slam a ball through or slap around my wrists. Like it's okay. I'm okay for the moment, but I better not dare get any more familiar. Like I need to stay a sitcom away, a football field away, an NBA court, a concert stage, a car stereo, a manager, a publicist, an agent, a supervisor, and a neighborhood away. Say my name. I'm asking you in love to show me the same respect and consideration that you want me to show you. You act like I don't see the adoration that you show your pets. You will kiss them in the mouths openly, but you get uneasy shaking my hand, allowing me in your space if I am not working it or even seeing me as worth your time. I know. It can't be all of you. I'm generalizing. Doesn't that just suck? So if you're ready, I think it's time that we met. I mean, I've entertained, loved, served, obeyed, worked for it, hired, admired, listened, educated, slaved for, amused, and scared you for so long you think that we know each other a lot better. How about we start with names? Me first this time. My name is Sandra, George, Trayvon, Ahmad, Sean, Brianna, Natasha. I'll just stop there for a second. I know that's a mouthful, but didn't I hear you say over and over and over again you were hungry for justice? Good. I'm glad that we're in agreement. Now say my name. In love. I've been in love with my people since Aretha. No, before that, since Nina, since Fats and Langston, since Marcus Frederick and Madam CJ, since my mama taught me that my head should default in the up position, that I am what I say I am, that whips won't stop this love inside of me, that shackles won't stop this love inside of me, that police dog, nooses, hoods, handcuffs, food deserts, detention centers, defunded schools, community centers, or derogatory jokes behind my back won't stop this love inside of me. You have tried it all. Try me. I know I am worth every bit the same as you. My life matters. Say it. Say it in love. Say it because when we were free, we didn't start our own KKK. We just wanted our God-given legal right to sit in the same polished table that you ate from, and we still don't got it, like Ant just said. So you say it in love, because if you love your neighbor, then you love me. If you love your teachers and your doctors, if you love your soldiers and your emergency workers, then you have to love me. And you want to know something funny? Despite all that has been done to me for over 400 years, I love you too. Because you're a human being. Because your laugh sounds like my grandfather's. Because you quote Shakespeare almost as good as my uncle. Because you cried with me when Prince died. Because you are holding the sign next to me in this protest, because you are holding my hand at church, because you made diversity matter at your company, because you taught your children our history. And what do you know? It ain't even February. In love. I come home at the end of the day, knowing that I might not even be safe there. I kick off my worn Converse, strip the pants and my shirt off, still haven't had time to clean this mirror. It's exhausting trying to play catch up. I can think of nothing better to do than to wash off the residue of, well, everything. But first I need this mirror. I need to let myself know that I am what I say I am, that I have a name worth saying. Love. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, Gil.
Thank you so much. Because I want to hear from my two partners in rhyme right now to close out this segment, I'm going to do one more piece, and then I'm going to kick it to Sharon. We're going to kick it to Ant, and then we have someone that was inspired enough to do our open mic segment. If any of you want to share a poem, Rosie, I know you have one underneath all the documents that you want to share. Mika, I know that you have something that you want to share. Just hit us up in the chat, and I'll make sure that I call on you. But this is my final piece. This is something I did for TEDx San Diego recently, and it's called Don't Look Away. And the reason why I have this poem is, you know, in this time, it is so important that we not look away this time. For a lot of times, and I know in my own life, I can only speak for myself, but maybe you can think about the times where, you know, people were making decisions for you, and you just let it happen. I just watched The Social Dilemma, and the guy said on the Social Dilemma one thing that just rocked my world. He's like, they're in Silicon Valley right now, there are 25 to 35-year-old white dudes deciding what you look at social media and how it's programmed to make you want more and more and more. So psychology wise, they're really just dictating your behavior. And that just shook me, that just the thought of that. This time we have the choice. Every day we have the choice not to look away. And this is what this poem is about. Here we go. Do you hear that? It's right over there. I know it's scary, but you gotta look. No, not there. There. You see, right amongst the gleaming twilight, past the amber waves of grain. No, you're looking in the wrong place. You're so silly. You were always looking in the wrong place. Listen for the drums. The drums tell the story of battle, of peace, of banners of blood spilt upon bloody beliefs, of pilgrims and promises, of godlike documents with the ability to determine for decades the destiny of who will be the disadvantaged and those who will cradle comfortably in future history's hammock. I completely agree with you. I had no idea that the right to bear arms included pens, that something so seemingly harmless could bastardize and monetize the hearts of men. Listen for the drums. The drums tell the story. Tell me you see that. Past the oak tree and all the dark fruit hanging from it. Go back a few hundred years past that. Past the oak tree and all the dark fruit hanging from it. Go past the few years past that. Do you see that treaty lay torn on the ground right next to the sleeping buffalo? I know. Let's just call the buffalo sleeping for now. Just listen for the drums of the song. The songs always tell the story. There, right there. That is where they're going to build America. And no, we're not invited yet, but we're coming anyway. We're marching in like a college drum line, like swans escaping the winter into the beating heart of the sunshine. And this time we're going to keep watch. This century, we will stand century. We cannot look away. We cannot look away. This is the most important movie you will ever see. Don't walk out of the theater after the fancy special effects. Pay attention to the end credits. Who is the director? Who are the producers? Who was involved in writing the script? And what were their true inspirations? Who has the key grip upon your community? And who are merely actors playing a role? Do you know any of this? Do not look away this time. I know the plain text on the screen is boring. So while you are reading, listen to the score in the background, the soundtrack, the drums, the songs, the voices always tell the story. The drums, the songs, the voices always tell the story. They are saying we are here. This is the spot where revolutions happen. If that word is too buzz for you, let's just call it a renovation. This is the spot where the second great American renovation happens, and it doesn't look like the picture we all envisioned yet. But this is the spot where the work begins. The drums, the songs, the art, the voices always tell the story. It's time. Pull out whatever is your God-given instrument and sing. Thank you, guys. All right. So it is my extreme pleasure to introduce back on the stage Miss Sharon